Ryan Grimm was in Washington, D.C. To cover an event for us. It is the Impeachment Now rally in D.C., which was organized by a number of wonderful progressive organizations, including Move On, PCCC, and other progressive groups. Now, he was able to catch up with some of the lawmakers whom we love, including Representative Ilhan Omar and Ayanna Pressley. And he asked specifically about whether it makes sense to skip the upcoming recess in Congress in order to continue on with this momentum on impeachment. So let's start off with Representative Ilhan Omar's answer on this.
Do you think that recess should be canceled?
I have called for recess to be canceled. The gravity of what is happening right now is going to be weighed down if we do not deal with this situation in the urgency that it deserves. And I want to make sure that every single person in this country understands that we want to do the work on their behalf, and we cannot afford to allow momentum to leave this moment. Nancy Pelosi, our wonderful speaker, has said that the moment has found us. The moment has found us, and we must seize it, and we must restore the integrity and the honor of the White House, and we must protect the Constitution and our democracy.
I think she made a great argument there.
Yes.
But there is disagreement between Representative Omar and Representative Pressley, which we'll get to in just a second.
Okay, so now look, there are layers of disagreements on impeachment. The first and by far most important layer was, do you do one or not? So Pelosi and leadership fought it all along. All the Just Democrats pressed forward, including Ilhan Omar and Ayanna Pressley, and certainly AOC and Rashida Tlaib. No question about that. By the way, hashtag Rashida was right. Then the second layer was, do you keep it narrow just about Ukraine, or do you have it broad? Progressives are for broad, hit them with everything you got. For some reason, Nancy Pelosi does not want to investigate Trump's business ties if her life depended on it. So she keeps wanting to make it narrow, but the progressives say no. That's also very important, because what if you miss on Ukraine? I mean, it seems very unlikely, but if you're only taking one shot, that makes no sense. Now, the third layer of the, not controversy, of the disagreement is, should we take a recess like they normally do? They take lots of recesses. Or should we strike while the iron is hot? Now, this is honestly the least important one. I'm in the camp of Ilhan Omar, let's press now. I always want to press when we have an advantage and be aggressive, etc. But let's hear out Congresswoman Ayanna Pressley. She also comes at it with good intent, and it's a fair difference. And I'll tell you why in this case it's a little different than if a corporate Democrat was talking about it. So let's watch first.
A lot of the groups sponsoring this rally have asked that so that they could focus on impeachment, that the recess be canceled. What's your take on that?
Listen, I think that as much as possible, we actually need to be in community and with our constituents. I mean, it only further makes the case for why we should be, why we are in a full impeachment inquiry. People pull us aside, not just at town halls, where they express the hurt that they're experiencing that's exacerbated and worsening under this administration every day. My constituents are in the Massachusetts 7th, a district that's 53% people of color, 40% foreign born. They are feeling great fragility. And they're encouraged that we are taking this step forward. But I always want to be in community and with my district, both in solidarity with them, but also to hear from them, to be in community, hear directly from our constituents about the issues of care and consequence to them. I just came from a hearing on debt harassment. Student debt is choking at the promise of this country. We're seeing an increase in suicide due to debt despair because of debt in this country. And so, to be in community, I think, is always beneficial because it makes sure that we continue to have two parallel tracks here. And that is to pursue this full impeachment inquiry, but also to continue to listen to, be led by, and to legislate on behalf of the American people. We've got to keep doing our job.
So I think she makes great arguments there. I lean toward agreeing with Representative Omar. I think that there's a lot on the line, and taking a 2-week recess right now in the middle of an impeachment inquiry is maybe not the best way to go about it. But I think Ayanna Pressley makes a lot of great points about wanting to go back to her district and reconnect with her constituents.
So now look, in the past when politicians said that, it didn't mean that at all. What it meant was, I'm gonna go back home, or not even home, I'm going to go raise money. And so that's still the case for 95 to 98% of the politicians in Washington. But remember, all the Justice Democrats are corporate PAC free. So it doesn't mean that in the case of Ayanna Pressley. So what's amazing and wonderful is we finally have some representatives who participate in democracy. So for the Justice Democrats, they actually do go back home to talk to voters.
Right.
So that's why it's a fair disagreement. I'm on Omar's side too, but that's a question of strategy more than it is of substance. So that's why it's less consequential than whether to do impeachment or not, or whether to have it be narrow or broad. Because if it's narrow, again, you might not even be able to impeach him or convict him in the Senate, et cetera, or drive him from office, and that would be disastrous. Whether you go now or you go after the recess, it's just a matter of momentum and a better tactics or not.
Yeah.
So that's okay. But we wanted to actually take the opportunity to ask you guys a poll question. So tyt.com/Ukraine is how you're gonna go to answer this. And there's a reason why I'm asking here. Would you rather have narrow impeachment inquiry focusing on just Ukraine controversy, or a broad one that potentially covers all possible legal and constitutional violations by President Trump? So A is narrowly focused on Ukraine, B broadly covering all issues. So there's two reasons why I'm asking this. One, let me be fair to the narrow folks, the Democrats that are arguing for narrowly focused on Ukraine is, hey, the iron is hot on this one. And so if we focus all of our energy on a simple, easy to understand issue, it might be more effective. The other side says, that's fine, nobody's telling you not to do that, but the other committees should also be investigating his tax returns, the obstruction of justice, campaign finance reform violations, et cetera. I'm asking you one because I'm genuinely curious, maybe I have it wrong and you guys think, no, let's keep it really narrow so that Americans understand it better. The poll numbers are going in the right direction since the Ukraine story came. And number two, if I want to see what the results are and share them with the press, because some people are pretending there's a controversy about where progressives stand. So I don't want to speak for you guys. You speak for yourself. tyt.com/Ukraine, and let's see where it comes out. Thanks for watching the Young Turks. Really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.